Next up was on the subject of improving technology in terms of computers, software, all things, daily tools that designers use. What impact do you think improving technology will have on designers, both in terms of how we work on a daily basis and also what we can do kind of for our clients, in terms of web design, things like that, how that will then impact on the offerings that we can provide?
Oh, I think there's a major change coming about in technology that's going to really change the way that designers work. People are much more sensitive to design today, and in part, the internet has made it just so easy to compare and to see what's available and to form our own opinions. But second, some of the tools are different. That the drawing tools. So we used to, almost all designers used to do things with pencil and paper. And computer tools they were uncomfortable to use, and besides, that they tended to make you want to do things in, straight lines or ovals, or they really restrained your ability. And the stylus on a computer thing just didn't feel right. But today that's changed. And I don't know how you work, but many designers only use a computer. And what the computer does is it allows you to experiment more. It's easy to change. It's easy to try this out and switch back. With paper and pencil, it's quite laborious. In fact, once you've done something, you can't undo it, not very easily. The computer allows you to undo, allows you to move things around, change the size. You can really do things. It's a much better way of exploring the possibilities. When we come to product design, there's a whole new world coming, because for the first time we can actually create shapes that we could never have done before. You can see this in automobiles. You look at you can tell the age of an automobile by how curved it is. The really old automobiles, they're basically flat metal with sharp creases. And they tend to be long, straight pieces of metal. And then curves started to come in, and more curves. And today it's possible. Look at Michael Graves, the architect, or look at what's his name? Architects today, they take pieces of paper, they crumple them up, and they say, "That's what I want it to look like." All those wrinkles and crumples and curves and bends. You never could have done that years before. Today you can do it. And so suddenly the things are unlimited. And now we have 3D printing. So for the first time, we can actually, not only can we draw something and then see it created right in front of us, and an hour or two later we have them. We can say, "Oh, that's not what I was thinking of." And so you can modify it and do it again. But 3D printing also allows us to build things we could never have built before. So that's changing. Back to graphic arts. These powerful computer tools that make it. This means that almost everybody can start drawing things. So everybody can be an artist. Everybody can be a designer. Now, I've had arguments with some of my friends about that. I say everyone's a designer, and they say, "Oh, that's horrible." Why is it horrible? Because most people are pretty bad at it. And so if everybody thinks they're a designer, we're going to have a lot of bad stuff out there. And I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite. I think because anybody can be a designer, because I can use these tools to draw, I'm a really crappy drawer. And I can draw things. I've actually published some of my drawings in my books, and most of my design friends think they're quaint and amusing, and they think I'm really brave for publishing my own drawings. And I use it actually because I want to make my books more friendly and appealing, and if I had a professional do a good job, it wouldn't be as personal. But because I can draw using the tools, and because I'm bad at it, it gives me a better appreciation for the skills of a good designer. So actually, let me tell you, if I'm doing a professional, whenever I work with companies, I insist they hire professionals. Because the fact that their engineers can do something, or the fact that their marketing person can do something, sure, but it's not the level, it's not the professional level that you want from the company. So I think these tools are expanding what people believe is possible. It gives people some experience. It allows a client actually to give a rough idea of here's what I was thinking of, and allows for better communication. And on top of that, because the designer can then turn it around and say, well, maybe maybe you're thinking, maybe you'd like this, and sometimes the designer can even sketch that right there, and you can get turnaround faster, right? If I draw a big presentation for you and the client doesn't like it, well, I can maybe get you back an alternative in hours, or certainly by the next day. Never before was possible. It used to take a week or two, and so we never did as good work. We basically had to say, look, the schedule was coming upon us, we better go with what we have. So yeah, technology changes things. It empowers more people, but I think it's improving things.
And again, in terms of improving technology, you've things like the iPad and what have you now mean that's kind of how people are reading magazines, is flicking through it. Yeah, started.
And now the magazines haven't quite figured out how to do it.
No.
And the iPad and other kinds of tablets, gesture systems are still in their infancy, so I get it. It's really confusing for me to read. I read the New York Times on an iPad, and you never know what the article. You swipe up to get more of the article, you swipe to the right to get the next article, but it somehow I'm never sure whether I'm swiping up, left, right, down, long tap, short tap, whether is it 3 fingers that gets me out, or 2 fingers, or was it 4, or so we're in the infancy. But yes, it's I've seen people give really nice presentations where we used to have to use a projector and project on the wall. Today we hand the person the iPad, and they can scan from image to image, and we can comment on it. And this gives the person receiving the story much better control to say, I see. Let me go back and look at the previous one. And so it is changing the way we interact in nice ways.
Yeah.